Good afternoon, and welcome to the Miami Community Newspaper Industry Show. Actually, this is our fourth show, and I want to thank all our listeners, our viewers, for tuning in and watching us live. And today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Sergio. Sergio, welcome to our industry show today.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Yes,
It's
sir.
great to be here.
Glad to have you. We have exciting things to talk about today
Yeah.
and teach the industry and contractors and people that are involved in the construction industry how we can enhance their business. But first
Right.
of all, let me give them a little history about yourself and what you've done and where you are today.
Sure.
Sure. So Sergio is a dynamic leader, speaker, and executive coach with over 20 years of domestic and international business leadership experience. He is a former student body president, as well as a former president of the State Council of Student Body Presidents. Sergio holds a Bachelor of Business Administration in International Business and Marketing and Executive Master of Business Administration from FIU, as well as International Consortium Certificate from University of Stellenbosch in Cape Town, South Africa. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I see you have a vast experience in here, and I see you have a passion for coaching individuals. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what led you to be here in this position.
Sure thing. As you can see, during my college days, I was very active and very involved and very interested in people development. As you can see, I was taking on some leadership roles. After I graduated from FIU, I went to actually go work for Caterpillar Inc. for about 14 years. And that led me on a bit of a journey. I was in Illinois for about 3 years, in Central Illinois, in a management training program. Then I got the pleasure of spending about 10 years overseas. I spent about 3 years covering Europe, Africa, and Middle East out of Geneva, Switzerland. And then I went on to Rome in Italy as a consultant in terms of leadership development and operational excellence with our dealers. And then went to Panama City, Panama, did the getting closer back home as we do the loop. And there I covered 19 countries in the Caribbean and Northern South America before finally making it back to Miami, where I covered all of Latin America and the mining division. So did that for about 14 years. Then at that point, just gotten married and was back home, stepped off that train and went to actually go work at FIU in the College of Business as their executive director for about a year or so. Then went on to host another executive director role in a consulting company before I started my own consulting firm called Progress Partners Consulting. And in this firm, we do executive coaching, organizational development, leadership development, values creation, and a lot of emphasis around mindset. Because if you really think about it, what holds people back for the most part is the 6 inches between the ears.
That's correct.
And it's a lot of the fears, right, that we have to overcome. Maybe it's even something as simple as the fear of asking a question, of speaking up, of not feeling worthy enough, or not feeling smart enough, or comparing ourselves too much in this day and age. And so I've always had the sense and the belief that people have a lot more potential than they're able to bring about, and nothing satisfies me more than seeing somebody really break out of their shell and understanding that they could be so much more than they are even today. Even if they've done great, everyone has the potential to do even more.
Right. And that's the reasoning for our show here, is to bring experts like yourself to take, contractors that, hey, we got to think about these contractors. They started with a toolbox, right off their truck. And by all means, they have more experience than other people, because not only they have to work with their hands, but they also have to use their brains to think how to do the work and read and go to school. Meanwhile, they try to maintain a family and they try to go to school to be able to get this contractor's license. And so we want to take them to that next level. So now they've done all their do's and don'ts, to be able to get somewhere and be able to maintain a family. And this is where we want to bring you in to show them that, hey, you could take that company that you have 2 or 3 employees and bring them up to a 3 to a 5 to a 7, 10 employee company, and bringing them up to that next level.
Absolutely.
And this is where you say, hey, everybody has the potential of doing it.
Correct.
Just with training and someone like you.
And listen, you see it all the time. You see the stories are there. The people who started with nothing, but they had the drive, they had the grit to continue. and they have that growth mindset, right? Where they're always curious and they believe in themselves enough to be able to say, hey, I can go after this next step. I can take this next test. I can get this next certification. I can do this. And they see themselves as already having succeeded. Like,
Correct.
you know, I'm here, but that's not where I'm going to stay.
Correct.
This is just a stepping stone. And that's the big difference, I think, where you see a lot of immigrants, right, come in and in 5-10 years, they're unrecognizable. They're millionaires, right? They may have grown their business.
Correct. Because they're not, maybe they don't want to go they don't have the funds or means to go to be a lawyer or a doctor, because it takes 8 years to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and yet you could go into a vocational program or industry program, and within a year's time get a certificate, training, and start working hands-on.
Exactly.
And like you're saying, within 5 years, they can establish a business.
That's right.
And they can maintain a family, and they're unrecognizable.
Exactly.
When you see them, they're like, who are you?
And listen, everyone's situation
Definitely.
is different, and everyone has different talents, and everyone has different situations. So you don't want to compare yourself to the college graduates. Okay, you run your race, and you stay in your lane, and you can control what you can control, which is your effort and your attitude, and what you bring to the table each and every day. How you show up is so important. Showing up is half the battle, right?
That's right.
If you're not out there,
well, that's what I tell my when we hire employees, that we recommend to work for contractors, and they're saying, if they show up to work, we'll show the rest. But if you show up to work, it's just getting there and doing the same thing day by day. It will get you to that next level.
That's right. And, two of the things that really stand out in successful people that you see in a number of studies is creativity and grit. If they have creativity, that means they're always searching. They're always thinking about the next, how can I improve? How can I make myself better? What can I read? What can I do? Right? You're always looking for that creative way to improve. Right. And grit is, hey, that's staying power. When you get knocked down and you get, and you're in trouble and the pressure's on and you're having family pressure, you got to go out there and perform and get yourself out of that hole. Right. That's not easy and that's not fun. But the people who do that, who have that mentality, are the ones that really succeed. Exactly.
They progress.
Exactly.
They progress.
And you learn, your biggest lessons are really learned from the hard times, not from the easy times.
No, of course.
Right.
And what I tell my customers, my people, when we fail with our face up.
Correct.
Have you seen when you're a baseball player and you strike out and you're at home plate and you do this, or I tell my son is a baseball player, and I told him, when you strike out, you just leave that home plate as soon as you can. Yeah. Because, when you're sad and down and you put your head down, the pitcher's reading you and he says, oh, I got him. Yeah. And they put you down.
Exactly.
So I always tell him, when you fail with head facing up.
That's right. And fail fast.
And get out of there quick.
Fail fast.
Exactly.
And grow with it.
So let me learn about you as when you started with Caterpillar, because it has to do with the industry, it has to do with construction. I know you're still involved with them. I'm hearing you're doing a podcast with them, but I want to go back a little bit as far as, how you got into Caterpillar, and Caterpillar then took you to these other ventures and made you the person you are today.
Sure. Well, funny enough, it was a good friend of mine, JC Del Valle, who I have to give thanks to, because I was actually on a trip.
You can say it on screen there.
Sorry. So JC Del Valle, I'm giving you some credit. Okay. So I was actually at the University of Florida at a State Council of Student Body Presidents meeting, and there was a career fair going on. And before I left, I had in my backpack, I had some resumes, and I said, hey, listen, can you pass these out for me at the career fair? And that was the call that I got, from Caterpillar. Yeah.
Industry. There you go.
Yeah. And so it's, it was a great opportunity. And look, I had never been in construction. I'd never been in any of this stuff, but you learn it, you grow from it. And it was an unbelievable experience.
Wow.
It was tremendous.
And it led you to basically traveling the whole world.
Exactly. But let me tell you, I fought for that. Right. And again, we're talking about, creative ways to fight for things. And here's something very special. I grew up, Cuban parents, right? So of course, like every good Cuban, you learn Spanish growing up and English. Well, it happened to be that I was at a location called Decatur, Illinois, very small town where a factory is. And I was the only guy that spoke fluent Spanish. And so they needed to do some surveys out in Spain to survey some customers. So I was the only guy that could do it. So they sent me over there. And
because you knew Spanish.
Because I knew Spanish. But I was young, I was 22, 23 years old. But I raised my hand, I went over there, and I told everybody that would listen, I want to come work in Europe. If there's anything here for me, I'll take it. I'll do anything. All right. I told everybody that would listen, and it just happened to land in someone's ears that happened to be needing someone to come over.
Right. Education.
And
education,
so,
yes.
you know, number one, tell people what you want. Tell
Put it
people
out
what
there.
you want. You
Put
got
it
to
out
put it
there.
out there. You never
That's right.
know who's listening,
That's correct.
because if you don't, they can't
Opportunities are there.
read minds.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
So you almost have to make your own luck. Right. And
Create your own luck.
Create your own luck. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. You got to
Yes.
let people know what your goals are, what your dreams are, and how they can potentially help. When somebody comes up to you and explains to you a dream that they're very passionate about, you almost want to start thinking about, how can I help them? Because you're
Correct.
inspired by that, right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so
you want to hear the story,
same
and
thing.
maybe you want to help grow that story
Correct.
for that person.
Yeah.
Because you see, hey, I didn't think about that, and yeah, that is a great idea. And you may know someone that knows
Yeah.
someone that could help that person.
And if you're a contractor starting out and you say, listen, my my dream is to grow this business into into $1 million business. And here's, when you find somebody with that drive and aspiration, you almost admire it and you want to
Right.
give them a leg up.
Right. Wow, what an interesting story. Well, I want to congratulate you for this story. And these are the stories that we want to bring to our show.
That's right.
That you could start in this industry, hands-on. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be a doctor anymore. You can go to a vocational program. Within 6 to 8 months, you can graduate from a program hands-on. You could be a plumber, electrician, whatever it may be.
Especially these days where we're starting to see that you really, I got my MBA, but you can say that you really don't need a college degree as much as we thought you needed it 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Because the thing was, hey, go to high school. When you're out of high school, you got to go to college.
Exactly.
Your parents will send you off.
Exactly.
18 years old. Here's a dorm.
Exactly.
Here's the keys to the new car. And off the kids went to college.
Yeah. And let me tell you.
But now we have to be productive.
And we're talking about Caterpillar. Caterpillar was having a very hard time to find talent that would work, with their hands, right? Mechanics. And a lot of these mechanics, you're not talking about turning wrenches anymore. You're talking about programming.
Right. Everything is computer.
It's all digital.
It's all digital.
It's all digital.
That's a good way of putting it out there, because
so
we used to think of before getting greased up. No, now everything you need a computer.
Yeah.
You need to program stuff.
Without a computer,
technology.
You can't work on those engines.
Correct.
It's
our
impossible.
industry is now technology.
Exactly.
It's a technological business. Well, that being said, let's speak about your podcast, right? You have a podcast.
Yeah.
Tell me a little about. I hear you have 2 podcasts.
I have a podcast called Game Changers Live, where I interview people who have been game changers in their field and have impacted the lives of thousands. And we get into.
Give me an example of.
We've had Dale Murphy, the baseball player from the Atlanta Braves.
Sure.
We've had Admiral Mike McCabe, who was the Admiral of the Navy's 3rd Fleet and a former executive officer of Top Gun. Which Top Gun 2 is coming out here in the summertime, so that's going to be fun to have him on.
Okay.
A number of CEOs and people who have really done something spectacular. And it's really interesting because they tell the stories of how they started off, and a lot of them started off just like this, right?
Right.
Without the education, and I grinded and I hustled and and I hit the wall and eventually overcame it. And then those are the stories that people
want to listen
get
to.
Inspired by, because they can relate to it, So I have that show, and that airs weekly on Thursdays at 3.
And how can they log in? What's the site to that?
All the Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, any platform. That's also Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere.
Okay.
Thursdays at 3, and you can find me at Speaker Surge on Instagram, and then from there you can link through. And then the other one I do is Caterpillar. So, for example, I put out the Game Changers podcast, and they enjoyed it so much they hired me to host their podcast called the Cat Power Podcast. And so there we highlight individuals from their industry on the marine side, oil and gas, for example. Correct. Talking about the latest
they handle the heavy equipment.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Operators, right? Equipment operators, Caterpillar.
Yeah.
So those that don't know.
Correct. Caterpillar is the the big yellow construction machines where they make
like
the
toys
tractors.
we used to play, right?
Exactly.
we used to play
real life
with
toys.
Those, the real life toys.
Yeah.
Now they're real life toys.
Exactly.
And what do they have, like a special training that they train their operators? Because this is an opportunity.
No, and so these are interviews for for leaders within the industry, right? That we're talking specific. But if they're looking for opportunities, job opportunities, on cat.com, you can find all the information on that.
Okay, so what is that website?
Cat.com.
CAT.com.
You can go there And then you'll find under, I think, careers, you can find some information there.
Perfect. And what requirements do they have to be able to get a job there? To give you an example.
Well, that I can't speak to that specifically, but there's so many types of jobs. I mean, everything from basic, diesel engine engineering and design, service, parts. There's so many opportunities there.
They have a lot of different divisions.
Yeah. Worldwide company, I think probably 80,000 employees, worldwide. So it's a lot of opportunity there. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And nowadays, how's your family doing, by the way? How's your
family's doing well. I have an 8-year-old girl, Gianna, and a 3-year-old boy, Giancarlo, and my wife, Asleen. And so very happy there and healthy, thank God, Good. Aside from some knee surgery, we're good. Okay. We're good.
But with your busy schedule, how do you manage the family? Because a lot of people say, hey, I don't have time. And I say, hey, we make the time today, you and I. We're very business oriented people, and we're always busy with our schedules are filled up, but we made the time to come here and share this information. Correct. And so, we have to make time for family. We have to make time for work.
That's right.
So how do you manage that time to be able to do what you do, 2 podcasts, you run a business, you do business coaching, and you also maintain your family? How do you make that happen?
It's an interesting question. I think it comes down to your values of what you value in your life. Right. Mm-hmm. And a good way to do that is think about, what are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to die for? What are you willing to give up for? Right. These are the most important things in your life, and really be very clear about that. Right. So you say, if it's family, then then you make intentional time to be with your family.
Right.
So you block out time, so that if you don't block out your time, somebody else is going to take it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Right.
Somebody's going to take it. So we need to be very intentional with our time management. I mean, how you spend every minute, every day is important.
Counts.
And it counts because it's the little things that count. It's how you do, the little things is how you do everything.
Management.
Yeah.
A little bit of time management.
Exactly. How you do the little things is how you do everything.
Right.
And so if you're very intentional, where attention goes, energy flows, right? The famous saying. Correct. So when you put attention to something, you're going to start creating the time for it, and that it deserves.
Right.
But you need to be very clear onto what's important to you. What are your values? What do you value in life?
Right.
And so obviously, health, if health is your a top priority, what are you feeding your body? How are you getting yourself to the gym? How are you being held accountable? How are you making sure that that's a priority in your life?
Correct.
And so it's all about intentionality, right? Not just driving through life. And we have our habits. You get on the Palmetto and you drink your coffee at this time, and you do this and the days go by, the weeks go by, the years go by,
and we forget about our family, and you're like, friends, what have I done?
What do we do?
Exactly.
You can't even look, Exactly. So we need to savor each and every day that we have here and be intentional about how we play the game.
Right. Well, to give you an example, what I do is my customers say, hey, well, Ernie, why don't you send me an email at 10 o'clock in the morning? He says, well, wait a minute. I've scheduled myself in a way where I'm productive and I'm able to do my work and find that time, that scheduling. So I've decided to say, hey, well, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get my emails out by 8:30. And by 9:30, I'm already down in Palmetto. But guess what? I'm not sitting in traffic.
Yeah.
I'm flying right by you. You understand? Yeah. And getting to my appointment. And my last appointment is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I can drive back without traffic, because I live down south.
Yeah.
And I get to my office by 3 o'clock. I start to work on my emails and process those orders. And then, yes, by 5 o'clock, I am done. And then, yes, I could dedicate time to other things. And believe it or not, have dinner. And then I can reset back to work.
Yeah.
You understand? But yeah, you need to make that scheduling and organize yourself to what you're used. You can make it more convenient for you and make that time for that family, friends, whatever you may have.
And a lot of the things that a lot of times I mention to my clients, wasting time for me is probably the most painful thing that I have in my life, because I get so upset when somebody, wastes time, because you can never get that back. You can never get it back. Right. And what I would suggest to you is things like when you're driving in your car and you're in traffic, whatever, you have 20 minutes, you know what, do something that's going to better yourself. Listen to a book, an Audible.
True.
Right? Listen to a program that's going to educate you, not necessarily the sports talk or the radio. Do something with that time. I got together with a good friend of mine, having an accountability partner. accountability partners are very important.
Sure.
That's like, for example, if you and I set out to have certain goals, well, I'm going to call you during the week. Hey, Ernie, did you do it? Did you do it? You know,
we follow up on each other.
Exactly. That's important.
Right, it's important.
And so I set a goal with my accountability partner. We said, hey, listen, let's read 52 books this year, a book a week. And here's how we're going to do it. Right. It sounds crazy,
right?
But it's possible because on Audible, you listen to books, right? Correct. You can also turn it up in terms of the speed so that it's 1.25, 1.3 times, whatever it is, the speed.
Sure.
An 8-hour book becomes 6 hours, right? And if you do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, 20 minutes at night,
you got your book.
You got your book done in a week.
In a week. And
you're going through books, 52 books a year.
Right.
You know,
and you're learning.
And you're learning.
You're building on yourself.
Exactly. You listen to it while you're doing the dishes, while you're in the shower, while you're working out, while you're walking the dog.
Right. So that being said, you know, I have customers because we have a school that we're trying to work together, and we're putting a vocational training school for advanced contractors.
Yeah.
And some of them say, hey, well, Ernie, how much is the cost? And, you know, it's not the cost that they're going to spend the money. This is money that is being invested.
Yes, correct.
Invested. So I want to talk a little bit about that and what you do for executive coaching, multi-level coaching, leadership development, organization values, sales training, how to be a keynote speaker. And this is what I want you to show to my customers, that by providing these services that you offer, they're going to become much better professional. Tell me a little bit about these programs that you have.
So what I do is, especially in my coaching, I meet people where they are, right? One of the first things I do is
you evaluate them.
Yeah, a questionnaire to kind of understand the lay of the land, right? Because I'm not going to bring to you a cookie cutter program that doesn't fit. It's like a square peg in a round hole.
Correct.
I need to see where you're at and then customize. And just like a tailor does, I'm going to tailor fit a program so that you're getting out of it.
And this works for contractors and anyone that's in any industry.
For anyone.
You're not going to be, it's nothing's out of rocket science. It's something that you're going to learn.
Exactly.
You teach them. So tell me a little bit about what's the time frame and how do you work? So you go in there, you evaluate the business.
Yeah. So I have several different programs, everything ranging from one-on-one coaching, which is bespoke, which is more on the high end, very intensive. It's all about you. To a 3-week course where we're talking about organizational development, like getting the most out of your people. And to do that, you need to understand where they are, right? And understand, we look at their habits, their attitudes, their beliefs, their expectations, how they perceive things, how they run their day every day.
So how do you leadership? You go into the business like an undercover boss?
No. So for example, we have a 3-week program that for example, I took a leadership team through it over here just a couple months ago, where it's an hour twice a week for an hour. Right. And there's assignments and there's homework, and there's report outs and so forth. So we take it in micro lessons. I don't like doing an 8-9 hour training where it's just too much and people don't retain it.
Correct.
I want to give you a lesson, a very easy to understand way. I want you to go apply it immediately. And then we're coming back the next time. I'm going to give you another lesson. We're going to apply the concepts and come back the next time. And like that, we build a cadence, right? And so we go through that, and that's building that mental muscle and really setting out your goals in a very clear and powerful way that makes them much more easier to attain. Right. And so that's, for example, called the Peak Performance Method. That's a 3-week course. And then I have another thing called the 30-Day Challenge, which is going on right now, which is the Game Changers 30-Day Challenge. And that's a lot of fun that you can take big groups through, 40, 50 people at a time or more, where people get a text message each and every day on their phone, and they jump into the app, and then there they got a daily inspiration. They got a journal that they check in with. They got their wall of wins where they can post, hey, I had a great win last night. Even something as, listen, I made dinner for my kids last night, and it was special. I closed a great deal. I opened up my LLC, whatever it is, that wall of wins. It's important to celebrate the wins because
we're always looking at bad news. I turn off the news because
we focus on
always bad news. Yes.
And the other thing is that we
want to focus on positive.
No, and here's the
positive
other thing.
News.
We also we pass over our wins way too quickly.
Right.
We don't stop to really celebrate it. And damn, I did a good job there. Pat yourself on the back, right?
Right.
Give yourself some credit. a gratitude section. Then there's coaches corners where you got micro lessons, micro videos from me coaching you on these individual things that you can do, right, and apply. And so there's a lot of different ways. So I'll, when I speak to a company leader, I'll really understand what is going on in the environment. What are they trying to achieve? Yeah, where are you now? Where do you want to be? And then we're going to custom tailor something to get you there.
Right. And what phone number can they reach you?
So
right there.
All right. So they could reach me at 786-457-0113. 786-457-0113. And also on SergioTigera.com. That's SergioTigera.com, or on Instagram, Speaker Serge. You can find me there as well.
Wow, Sergio, it's been amazing interview. I've got a lot of information from you
we
here.
Can go on and on.
We can go on and on. But I understand we have to get going to our next meeting. You have to go pick up your kids. I understand.
Yeah.
So it's
there
family,
you go. That's part of the values.
There you go, values. I take that. So again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank the Miami Community Newspaper, and also please tune in into the Miami Community Newspaper, that they have newspapers throughout the whole county. Check them out. Cutler Bay has their own over there. And we're supporting Cutler Bay Business Association. Shirley Solis is going to be our next keynote speaker. Which is the second Thursday of every month. Yep. She's an amazing person. I understand you work with her. Business coaching as well.
Absolutely.
So she's going to be coming actually here to this show as well, but she's going to be our keynote speaker for our upcoming luncheon, which we also want to extend the invitation to you.
Fantastic.
And come and also meet the local business owners of Cutler Bay.
Love it.
So thank you, Sergio. Anything else you want to say to your friends, your family, your co-workers?
No, thanks for watching, and I hope this helps inspire you to be much more than you can be, and remember that you do have the potential to be great. And so think about that. Sharpen the saw each and every day. Continue to find ways to improve, and you're going to see that that opportunities are going to open up for you.
All right. Thank you. Please share this video with your friends, family. Post it, repost it.
That's right.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks right here at the Miami Community Newspaper in our next show. Thank you, Sergio, and I wish you a great day.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you.